the national 12-bell final with Matthew Tosh.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll leave everyone listening now to Exeter's test piece.
the National 12-Bell Final with Matthew Tosh.
That was Exeter doing their ringing there. Now, a few of you, just like us here in the studio, have been, got really, really good hearing, and you're hearing a bit of squeaky noise. Phil Tremaine's been in touch on Twitter. He says, "What's the squeaky noise from the feed just before they pull off?" He says, "It sounds like someone bouncing the tenor." Exactly that, Phil, because we've been hearing it all day, and that's a good sign, actually, that you're able to hear it as well. It means that we've got a reasonably good quality broadcast stream going out. And, you can hear them. And actually, Exeter, I felt, were bouncing the tenor a lot. It seemed to be bouncing horrendously. It was getting slower and slower. It was sort of getting a bit further towards that balance point. So, well listened. Now we are expecting Norwich to go into the tower at 3 o'clock to do their practice piece, of course, and of course this is the team that has the home advantage. They're on their own bells, so it will be really interesting to see how they perform. Meanwhile, though, it's time to get back to the old social media. A studio selfie's just gone up with some terribly handsome looking chaps on there, if I may say so. We've got that photo. I've just put that photo up from Liz Barnes, her emergency party that's going on. Matthew Sorrow has emailed me, and he's saying that they're looking forward to having a sister ringing centre, ringing, teaching and heritage centre soon. So thank you very much for your email there, Matthew. I know you say you were hanging in there, staying up until the small hours, supporting all the ringers here, so it's great. Now we've got John O'Clay. I'm just pressing this button here. John has been in touch. Thank you, Matthew, for a really interesting commentary on the 12-bell final. You certainly know what you're talking about. Well, I try. Which cannot be said of many who comment on bell ringing. Well, actually, it's funny, isn't it? And it's not unique to bell ringing. If you're listening to maybe a sort of mainstream broadcaster talking about something very technical like ringing, they might get the terminology wrong. Those of you that listen to bells on Sunday, sometimes the continuity announcer may not pronounce things correctly. And of course, that's not necessarily their fault, but it's just interesting. So thank you very much, John, for your comments there. He said, well done to the team, the broadcast team. He said, can you also mention thank you also for the wonderful housekeeping message you passed on from our family members to Phil and Liz Orme. See what this is now? We now know their batteries have run out on their phones, and that why our comments from here in Spain are not getting to them. That's Jill and John Clay again. So thank you very much for your messages there. Any more family messages out there? Anyone want any shopping that people want to order? Just drop me an email. It's 12bellstudio@gmail.com.
This is the National 12-Bell Final with Matthew Tosh, live from Norwich.
Now, we just had a really strange situation because BBC Norwich came into the studio to do an interview with me whilst the bell ringing was going out. So that'll be going out on tomorrow's breakfast show here in Norwich, BBC Radio Norwich, I imagine. But they were really impressed with the setup here, and I have to take my hat off to Gareth Lawson, who really has been a driving force behind the kind of quality that we're striving for here. So thank you very much, Gareth. Are you going to come on mic? Just come on mic for a little bit, because we haven't actually heard you today. So we'll just stretch across the table there.
I apologise, I've got a mouthful of sandwich.
Well, we've just had food just brought to the studio, haven't we? We've sort of been flagging a little bit in here. But
of all of the times you want to come and have a chat with me, it's whilst I'm chewing on some ham and cheese.
Yes. No problem there. It's fine. But technically, I mean, are you pleased with that? It's quite extraordinary, the kind of interaction we're getting today.
Yeah, very much so. I tend to kind of consider myself a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to things like this, and I strive for the best. So it's really, really important to me that we can have a really good, clean, quality sound, and that a lot of people might know that I've got a background in radio broadcasting.
You certainly have.
And so I've got that experience and I've got that knowledge that I'm able to bring to the show. And I'm quite happy not to be on air, because I've done that for 10 years, you know, so I'm quite happy, doing the technical stuff and producing the show, and just doing everything I can to make it sound as best as possible for you. So,
well, you're certainly making my job a lot easier, so thank you from me there. Graham John has been in touch. He said good luck to the... Graham Wright, has said good luck to the Norwich band. Lucy Mellon says, go Team Melbourne. Says, hello 12 Bell Studio team. Enjoying the quick hello with the Melbourne Ringers. Well done there. What else have we got? We've got Linda Huntingdon. She says, I love listening to the live broadcast of the 12 Bell striking competition here in Hendersonville, North Carolina, USA. Hello! Hello! Says, a big shout out to Neil Thomas in Norwich. Sorry I'm not there to hear it live. This live broadcast is the next best thing. Thank you for putting this on. Well, that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring that competition to you wherever you are listening. Now, one of the things I always like to do before a competition of this calibre is go into the pub the night before and meet the ringers. And there's a whole range of, sort of people's approach, a range of nerves as well. We've got some first-timers, some very experienced ringers. And one of the very experienced ringers I spoke to is Paul Carless, who was ringing for the college youths. And this is what he had to say. Oh, now here's another recognisable face, Paul Carless. Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, well, I'm soaking up the atmosphere, and it is a nice atmosphere, sort of a kind of quiet before the storm, almost. I mean, how would you describe the atmosphere the night before a final?
Sober, to start with.
Is that important? I mean, or is there a sense of, it's okay just to wet the whistle and sort of calm the nerves a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, it's an important competition. You want to be on top form. There's no point turning out under par with a hangover because you're just letting everyone down.
How do you prepare your mind the night before? Is there anything that you do? I talk to lots of ringers about this, and everyone seems to have a different strategy. Is there anything that you do as an individual that gets your mind in the right space, or do you just have a jolly good night and try not to think of the competition?
I don't tend to think of it much the night before. It's always there in the back of your mind, but most of the preparation's done on the day, mentally, in the morning, and just get in the zone. It's difficult to describe precisely what it is you actually do, but you sort of just clear your mind of other things and just think about the test piece and what you got to do. Remembering your practice, what things you have to do, what the bell was like, concentrate on remembering what that's all about and what you've been training for.
And the fact that it's Lincolnshire, I mean, that's slightly unusual for some teams because it's not necessarily a staple. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Is that kind of thing done on purpose, do you think?
Well, I think it's a good thing in that it's a little bit of variety. And that always sort of shuffles the cards a bit more, doesn't it? It's I think it's just quite a nice method on 12. I know people sort of turn their noses up at it. I've got a great set of leads for it, so I'm looking forward to it. It's a bit different. Got the 5 pull dodges. That's going to really sort of, people will be worried about that, particularly in the last lead. So and I think everyone's worrying about that, especially the back bells. So we're looking forward to it, though.
Just on that, I mean, do you think there's could skew the focus of some bands? There's the risk because that very recognisable set of changes is about to come up.
Absolutely, very much so. People in our band are concerned about it, and rightly so, because the judges are going to be really listening out for it. I mean, it's classic roll-ups off the front, and you've got to get them right. So yes, it's an added pressure, which is no bad thing.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it? With the 12 well in particular, the final, it is a lot of pressure.
It is pressure, but as you say, it's how well you perform under that pressure, and it just adds a little bit of frisson to the overall event. So sets the high performers out away from the less well performers, shall we say.
You use the word frisson. I don't think anyone's ever used that in a 12-bell interview before, so there's a first for you there.
Well, I was trying to introduce a little bit of culture to the event.
Someone's got to try, haven't they? Listen, thank you very much for talking to us. Paul Carless ringing for the college youth tomorrow. Best of luck with the competition.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it. Do what we did last time we came here and win. So.
This is the National 12 Bell Final. Matthew Tosh, live from Norwich.
Sorry about that. A very exciting moment in the studio because we've been delivered cake. Those of you that know me well know I'm a huge fan of cake, and I'd just like to say a massive thank you. I really like the Norwich Ringers because some scones have been brought in. We've got an enormous Victoria sponge overflowing with cream and jam, so life is good at the moment. Life is good down in Somerset as well. Andy Mead has been in touch on Facebook, and he says, could we give Margaret Chapman a special mention? It was her 80th birthday this week. Oh, well, there we go, Margaret. Happy birthday if you are listening. Good to have you all on board. More messages coming through from the Orme clan. Great commentary. This is Mike Orme, listening at home awaiting Cambridge, and expect great things from our son Philip and the rest of the band. You mentioned Bells on Sunday continuity. I gave them all the correct info for the presenters, but notes to the Beeb do alter the context from time to time. Absolutely, I have no doubt about that. It's just, if you're not familiar with terminology, pronunciation, or where you put the emphasis on certain words, it can get a little bit skewed. Now, you've got a studio producer who's a non-ringer, might change things a little bit. Now, I don't know whether the next people in the studio are spectators or they want to come and have a chat. Oh, they're recording into the corner. It's Steph Ruff. Just to say, wave to the camera. You're on the camera up there. The internet, you see, and Richard Barclay as well. This is the thing, you see. A lot of people coming in and out of the studio, having a look, seeing how it's all done, and then going downstairs. Are you listening downstairs? Can you hear it downstairs in the bar?
Downstairs, yeah.
You see, yeah, you've just spoken on air. We can hear your voice. So if you come in here, we can hear you properly. Who else we got on the? We've got on the Twitter. I'll come back to that. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch on Twitter, then it's at National 12Bell. That's with a number, and the hashtag today is hashtag 12Bell. Put that on, and everyone can see what you're talking about in the contest. And on Facebook, it's National 12Bell Striking Contest. That's where you can get in touch with us. If you want to email us, you can do. It's 12bellstudio@gmail.com. I'm just going to digest my scone and do this.
This is the National 12 Bell Final. Matthew Tosh, live from Norwich.
Ladies and gentlemen, Exeter in the studio. Give a hand up for Exeter. What enthusiasm there from Matt Hilling with the clapping. Should we try that again? I'll do this thing again. Here we go.
This is the National 12 Bell Final. Matthew Tosh, live from Norwich.
Ladies and gentlemen, Exeter in the studio. Yay! Right, we've got right. How was that for you down there, Matt Hilling?
How was it? It was good. It was hot. It was slightly scary. I've nearly missed the Sally a couple of times, but generally okay.
Is it like a sweaty hand thing?
Yes, generally a sweaty hand thing.
Bad handling style.
Thank you, producer. You said you didn't want to be on air. Just go stay in your corner over there. That's fine. And who have you brought with you today?
This is Tom Waterston, who's the youngest member of our band, and he was very keen to come and talk to you.
Oh, right, okay. Tom, have you taken part in these competitions before?
Yeah. I don't know how many times.
Well, quite most of our times.
Is that your fourth?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're on your fourth?
Fourth,
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay. So your perspective on today's competition, your performance up there, how did you find it?
Scary.
It's a scary tower, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've got all those kind of critical ears down there.
You have to not think about that. You really have to ignore it and not worry about them being there. I mean, we're not expected to win, so I don't think they're critically listening to us particularly.
I don't know. You should never say that. You should never say that.
Tom had to ring the ninth, and I wound him up a bit about all the roll-ups off the front just before we started, but he did it very well.
Yeah, no pressure there at all, is
They
it?
told me no one listens to that last lead. But
No one's listening. It's all fine.
It's not recognisable at all. So how do you do that? I mean, trying not to think about those people. I mean, what's your strategy?
I just try and focus entirely on what I'm doing. I'm just ringing, and that's all I'm doing. It's like what we do any other time. We just go and ring. We do our best when we're ringing, and it's just like that. That's what I tell myself. I hope others are doing something similar. But yeah, ignore everything else. Focus on the method. Focus on the bell, and listening and sticking to the rhythm.
But as a team, if you see somebody who's perhaps slightly going, not necessarily going off the rails, but maybe looking a little bit distracted or a bit concerned, what do you do? I mean, as a team, do you pull them back in? What's your approach? Because I pick up on this from different teams because everyone's got different strategies.
Some people worry about it a lot. And you can see that it's in there, and even when we practice, before coming here, you can see they're really worried about it. I don't know, what do you do? I just try and smile at them and get them to relax. We try and tell jokes before we start.
Usually bad ones.
Yeah, usually bad ones.
Yeah.
Little things. And just trying to think about us being a team, and it doesn't matter what one individual does, it's how the team performs.
Indeed, and a lot of people have said it's that team spirit is really important. If you can have a little bit of a light-hearted joke, then then all the better. Talking about the touch, the choice of Lincolnshire this year, I mean, what's your take on that, either of you? Tommy, you're smiling. You're grimacing, I don't know. Do you like Lincolnshire? Be honest, get close to the microphone. We'll record this.
5-ball dodge is quite worrying.
There's a pressure there, isn't there, for certain bells? I think Lincolnshire, it doesn't come. It's not natural. You can ring Cambridge in your sleep. We turned up at the Eliminator, and you don't have to think about the method. You can really focus on your striking and everything else that goes with it. Whereas when you ring Lincolnshire, you do have to focus on the method and making sure. Do I miss that dodge now, or is it the next? It's those little chain differences, but it makes it more interesting. And I think it's right for a final to not be Cambridge. I think that's good.
Good stuff, Tom.
I don't really know.
You're stunned there. Okay. Well, there's no pressure. We've only got people listening in Japan.
Excellent.
Michael Freebody has just been in touch. So well done, everybody. Really enjoying the broadcast. Fantastic job. Looking forward to hearing Birmingham's winning ring. Ooh.
Cool.
Controversial.
Yeah.
What do we think about that? So looking forward to Birmingham's weenie ring. Hope I can stay up for the results. It'll be about 2 o'clock here. Now we're going to have to stop the interview there because the trebles are ringing over at Mancroft. So we need to go over there. This is the home team, Norwich, everybody. Let's hear how they do.
Good luck, Norwich.
You're listening to the National 12 Bell Striking Contest, live from Norwich with Matthew Tosh.
Oh dear, we just clipped them there. That was a very respectable performance for the home team there. Norwich there, our 8th team in this year's final. Just to recap who we have had ringing so far. We've had Leeds, they went in first. We had the College Youths, the Cumberlands, Bristol, Toaster, Melbourne, Exeter, Norwich, Birmingham are in next, followed by Cambridge. And of course we have been talking to the Cambridge Ringers, who were drawn first last year and to be drawn last this year. That is an extreme change and quite challenging to stay focused during the course of the day. Now I nipped down to the canteen downstairs. Well, I say canteen, it's the bar downstairs earlier, and some of the Birmingham Ringers were in there at that time. They're listening intently to the speakers. We've had reports that the Birmingham Ringers have been outside the tower having a listen from different places around the outside, listening just completely focused. And they are taking this seriously. They are very aware that they have been drawn late in the day, so they'll be making their way up to into the tower in the next 2 minutes, and we might have a little eavesdrop on their practice just to see how they're getting on. Keep the comments coming on social media as well. It's a nice message from Peter Bridle that I missed a little bit earlier. Actually, he said as one of the 9 extant ringers from the 1975 Bristol band, he says a good luck to the Bristol Ringers. Well, thank you very much, Peter. That message was passed on earlier. Eileen Frank Butler says, great to hear the ringing from a cloudy day here in Philadelphia. Good luck to our friends Bruce and Eileen. So thank you very much, Bruce and Eileen there. Tiffy's been in touch. Tiffy Stedman, she said, well, my money's on Bristol, this side of Brum at least. Keep up your dulcet, velvety tones coming, Matthew. Thank you, but I'll try, you know. It's it's the effect of the cake, you see. It makes me sound a little bit hoarser, so nothing else. And Michael Orm says, enjoying the commentary. He said, but... Now, listen to this. Controversial. He said, my watch, the PC and the house clocks showed that Toaster were 1 minute and 20 seconds over their time slot. Now, that could be, don't forget, there is a bit of a broadcast delay depending on where you are listening in the world, so who knows. At the very, you can probably work it out. If I say it is exactly 3:29 and 40 seconds, when I said that, you can work out. When that comes through to your stream, you can work out what your individual delay is. So there we are. So if you want a bit of geekery.
This is the National 12 Bell Final with Matthew Tosh, live from Norwich.
Of course, the team we just heard was Norwich. Here's David House on his take about Norwich as a city.
I came to university here back in... can I admit it, in 1964. See Richard Turk laughing there because he came in about 2004. So I did 4 years at university here and then stayed on working here for 4 years. So 64 to 72 was a very enjoyable period here.
And was there much ringing in those days amongst the students?
There were a small number of students. Personally, I was never much in favour of trying to create a separate university band, so we integrated with the Mancroft Band, and I had the honour of being ringing master at Mancroft for a little part of my time here.
So you know the bells well then?
I used to know the bells well, yeah, run quite a lot of peals here. They seem to change over the years, you know. We had a practice here a fortnight ago, and nice to refresh the memory.
Not quite as you remember them, or...?
Oh, well, they are. I think they're magnificent, you know. I always debate this with my old friend and enemy Philip Eris, who thinks they're the worst 12 in the world, but, you know, these are bells all cast in 1775. I think, apart from the tenor recast, I think 1814. Wonderful, 12, all out of the same mould, so to speak, and a lovely sound.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it, with bells? It's not always about the most perfectly in-tune ring of bells. It's the character, and that's really difficult to try and explain and portray that to people at times.
Absolutely agree, and, you know, quite unique. You'd recognise the sound of these bells whenever you heard them. Wonderful sound.
And people will be listening to them all day on the live broadcast. Norwich itself as a city, I mean, it seems to be full of churches.
Yes, Norwich had a lot of churches, and indeed a lot of them did have rings of bells. Of course, you know, just a few hundred yards from where we're talking now, which, as you can guess, is an hostelry, St Andrew's Church, where the first bit of London Major was rung. You know, great history there. Bells long unringable, alas. And indeed many other the churches which had bells in Norwich now had them removed, so we're down to something more manageable, I guess, now.
The National 12 Bell Final, live from Norwich.
It's gone midnight in Sydney. We've just been talking about times, haven't we? Yeah, gone midnight in Sydney, and Peter Harrison says, I've just listened to my friends from Norwich ringing right now. All the best to those competing today and to those cheering for the beer. There we go. He said, now this is interesting, he said, I've been chatting to a ringer in Germany whilst listening to your broadcast. It really is reaching all corners of the globe right now. So, perhaps ringers, you're having your own private conversations online. Not many of you talking to me, are you? That's fine. You enjoy your conversations out there. Now, in the background, you can hear Birmingham doing their practice, of course. Should we have a little snoop? Yeah. Yeah? Go on. Well, this is us just eavesdropping on Birmingham's practice. A lot of attention focusing on the Birmingham team today. Of course, that shouldn't overshadow really the other teams that have been taking part. So far today, we've heard from Leeds. They were in first. The College Youths went second. That was at midday. They went into the tower. Their test piece was at 12:15. Then the Cumberlands, some mixed comments about both of those teams from people online and people here. Bristol fourth, Toaster fifth. This is the ringing order. It's not that we haven't had any early results or anything. Melbourne, Exeter, Norwich, the home team, because they get the bye-in as the host team to the final. Birmingham are in the tower at the moment doing their practice, and Cambridge will be up next. They'll be going in at 4 o'clock. Now, apart from being late in the day and having that kind of the competition ringing, looming over you, you've also got the issue of the temperature in the tower, because the West End window is just completely open. The sun is streaming in, and every single ringer that I've spoken to that's come out of the tower have just commented just on how hot it is. We'll get it from the horses' mouths when they come out of the tower later. So we'll keep you posted on that. And don't forget, if you want to get involved in today's broadcast, I know a lot of you have, and I must say thank you very much. We've thoroughly enjoyed getting all your messages. And then if you're on Twitter, it's at National 12 Bell. The hashtag is hashtag 12 Bell. That's both number 12 in both of those. And if you're on Facebook, just search for National 12 Bell Striking Contest. And if you want all the stats, there's quite a few of you into that, and a few of you inbounding the links around today, which is great. Then the statistics website for the 12 Bell competition, it's the main 12 Bell website, and it's 12bell.org.uk. Right back this morning, I played you an interview from a ringer who was taking part in the competition for the first time. This is Hannah Martin, and she was ringing with the Leeds lot, and I just think that what she had to say was really, really special. Because there's lots of glasses of wine around here, and Hannah Martin's got a glass of wine. You're ringing tomorrow, aren't you? Who are you ringing for?
I'm ringing for Leeds.
So how are you feeling?
A bit nervous. My first 12 bell experience, apart from the eliminators in March, but I'm feeling quite good about it because first eliminators got through to a final, so I can't feel too bad about it, can I really?
Can I just ask that, because you're the first person I've spoken to tonight whose competition it's their first competition. What was going through your mind in the eliminator? How was that for you?
I was completely and utterly terrified.
Really?
Absolutely terrified. I think I was kind of judging the distance to the nearest bin, actually, in case I needed to, but no, I enjoyed it. It was a different experience, because I don't think I've even rung in many normal non-12 bell striking contests before, so it was just a really big step up for me, and I was just really grateful to have had the experience, really. Yeah.
Any tips for people who might be considering entering a 12 bell eliminator as a first timer? Any advice?
Well, it's less about you as an individual and more about you as a team. So, I mean, it's really important, I think, to have a connection to the team on a personal level as well. I don't think I think it's like with anything with ringing, that it's really important to go along with the social side of things as well as the actual ringing side of things, because otherwise there's no way that you're going to get that bonding between your team. And I just think that that's really important because it makes you so much less nervous around people when you're ringing, and it does make you feel like they really support you when you're about to ring. So that would be my main piece of advice. And also just remember, I mean, a lot of people might be unhappy with me for saying this, but remember that it is meant to be a hobby. Remember that it's not life or death, it is meant to be enjoyable, and that you are all doing it as a set of friends. That would be my advice.
That is such powerful words, because I think you're right. Some people do take it a little bit too seriously at times. And of course, it is a competition, and it wouldn't work if people didn't have that sort of competitive edge. But yeah, this is our hobby, and we do it because we enjoy it. Just going back to how long have you been ringing, if you don't mind me asking?
So about 11 years, maybe a little bit longer. I started when I was quite young because my dad was tower captain at my local church. And then I took a break from method ringing almost before I'd started, actually. When we moved to Devon, I rang at a call change tower for 5 years. And it was only really when I came to university at Leeds 3 years ago that I really started ringing 12 bells seriously. I mean, before that, I think I'd rung rounds and calls on 12, and that was about it. So, yeah.
So, in terms of your own ringing, I mean, you must have noticed some benefits of actually being involved in the lead up to the competition.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, also before I came to Leeds, I mean, I think I hadn't really grasped this. I mean, this is a point of how people do take it seriously and how it can be a benefit, is that if you don't realise kind of how seriously you can take it, you don't really care about your striking, and if you don't care about that, then you're never really going to be a good ringer. And I mean, I'm not saying that I'm kind of there at all, you know, but I definitely have a lot more respect for my striking and listening to the rest of the band and not just thinking, oh, well, I'm in the right place, you know. I'm not on the line anymore, I'm part of the rhythm, and that's really important. Yeah.
So someone who may be listening at home, they may not been ringing very long, but they're in their minds, they're thinking, one day I might be able to ring in a national 12-bell competition. Is it really possible?
Of course it is. I mean, I came to Leeds 3 years ago, and like I said, I could barely ring rounds and calls on 12. I think my first practice at Leeds, I actually I didn't ring plain hunt on 11 because I messed it up really badly. And then last year I was a reserve, but I didn't actually get to ring in the competition at all. So I learnt Stedman sinks, especially for the competition last year, as a reserve. I learnt Cambridge for the Eliminators this year as a member of the team, and I've learnt Lincolnshire Max for the final in the past 3 months, you know. So there are a lot of other people in the band as well from Leeds that learnt Lincolnshire for the 12 bell. I mean, and it really is just about coming together as a team and seeing what you can produce when you really connect as a team. So my recommendation for anyone is just to go for it and try it and take it seriously, but not too seriously.
Wise words. Hannah, thank you very much, and best of luck in the competition.
Thank you very much.
The National 12 Bell Final, live from Norwich.
Yep, still here, and we're here right the way through until the results come through. Now, a couple of the Norwich people have just come in, John Spreadbury and Jim Hughes. Welcome, gentlemen. I must say you're looking very A, hot, but B, a sense of relief, yeah?
Most definitely, yes.
Yes. How was it? I mean, your own bells, I mean, it was clear that you know those bells through the ringing, but with all those sort of kind of professional ears outside, how was it in the tower, in your own tower? Did it feel any different?
Well, I didn't think about the people outside at all. I was just concentrating on getting the method right.
Yeah.
And standing upright, really.
Standing upright, I like that. John, what about you?
Yes, basically, it was utterly terrifying. It's the thing is with anything like this, it's not normal. It's everything looks familiar, but you're aware that everybody in the whole world's listening. Suddenly occurred to me about halfway through the fourth lead, one of my mates in Australia is probably listening to this. Let's get my backstrokes in.
Very good. So in the lead up to this, I mean, has it shifted the emphasis or the focus on the ringing amongst the band?
Well, it's we always try to strike as well as we can, but it is just focused practice. And it's the Sunday service ring, because we are a genuine Sunday service band, and the Sunday service ring has improved no end. And I mean, everybody that was in the band you would expect to see on a Sunday morning or Sunday evening, at least probably once every couple of weeks. So for a small city like ours, I think we've done all right.
Brilliant. Jamie, is that something you've experienced?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I've been part of this band for 2 years now, and everybody's really committed.
Yeah.
Most people come every Sunday.
Yeah. Brilliant. Right. I'm going to have to stop you there, gentlemen, because the trebles are just ringing across the road there. So thank you very much. Jim Hughes, John Spreadbury from the Norwich team. Great performance there.
The National 12 Bell Final with Matthew Tosh.